All right, here we go with Project 2025. This is the playbook that the Republican Party has got to run the country when Mr. Trump takes office January the 20th, 2025. Now, among other things here, I just want to look at this one thing. I don't want to bore you with a whole bunch of stuff. But here we have, and you read policy goals. And abortion, social issues, so on and so forth, reversing the FDA's approval, blah, 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 calls for a, can you read that? I'm having trouble reading it myself. Calls for a pro-life task force within the Department of Health and Human Services. The project promotes traditional definition of marriage, affirming that men and women are biological realities, and advocating for a family structure based on biblical principles. Okay, let's take a look at that. But before we do, real quick, regarding immigration, they mentioned that continuing Trump's focus on immigration, Project 2025 calls for finishing the U.S.-Mexico border wall. I hope that includes making Mexico pay for it. Anyway, let's talk about this biblical principles of marriage. Men and women are biological realities. Well, so are hermaphrodites. You know, somebody that's got both male and female, that's a biological reality. Okay? It's a biological reality that, you know, things happen. Everything doesn't turn out like it's supposed to. But they want to advocate for a family structure based on biblical principles. I wonder if they know what the biblical principles of regarding family is. Well, let's just take a look in the Bible here. Among other things that's mentioned in the Bible regarding families is right here in Deuteronomy chapter 25. Can you read that? It says, how do we get it to where it'll read? Come on, Dan, learn to hold your Bible. Goodness gracious, you act like you never saw a Bible before. Okay. And it says, well, one of these days I'll get this right. If brethren dwell together, and one of them die, and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her, and take her unto him to wife, and perform the duty of an husband's brother unto her. That's a biblical perspective on family. If a man dies without children, and he has a wife, and he has a brother, and there are instances in the Bible where it was not just a brother, but just a male relative, they're supposed to go in and impregnate the woman and produce a child, and that child's supposed to be the dead man's child. That's biblical. Are you okay with that? We're going to do that? It's reiterated in the New Testament in the book of Mark, chapter 12, verse 19 here. Master, Moses wrote unto us, talking to Jesus, if a man's brother die and leave his wife behind him and leave no children, that his brother should take his wife and raise up seed unto his brother. It doesn't say anything about marrying the woman. And as far as biblical principles, you know, they preach one man, one woman. Well, how many instances are there of men in the Old Testament having more than one wife? David had more than one wife. Moses had more than one wife. Jacob, the father of the 12 tribes, had 4 wives, actually 2 wives and 2 concubines. And, you know, their concubines, their maids. Solomon was famous for having 700 wives and 300 concubines. I don't see the one man, one woman principle in the Old Testament. I mean, you do have Adam and Eve. Anyway, so much for your biblical principles, and I do hope they can make Mexico pay for that wall once they finish building it. Have a nice day.